Hello, boys and girls. You're at your house and I'm at mine, and it's Monday, and it's going to be such a fun time together because I want to show you something very special. Now, as you know, we're talking about vintage cars just for a little while because we've got lots of other things to talk about too. But Steve was telling me the other day that vintage cars are cars that are only 50 years old or even 40 years old. So I've got a little Anglia. Now this is a special little car because it was my very first car, and I bought it from my granddad and I learnt to drive on it, and it's such an old-fashioned car now. I think I'm a real vintage teacher because I learnt to drive on a vintage car, well, a car that's vintage now. But this little Anglia was really cute, and I had lots of wonderful adventures in that little Anglia. So boys and girls, you should talk to your nanas and your granddads because I'm sure they'll be able to tell you about some of the cars that they learned to drive on, and they might even be vintage cars. So we're going to sing our fun song, Twinkle Twinkle Chocolate Bar. I hope you gave your daddy the most wonderful day yesterday. And don't forget, still keep up those cuddles and kisses. That's what Daddy loves. Okay? Anyway, let's sing our fun song. Twinkle, twinkle, chocolate bar. My daddy drives a rusty car. Push the button, pull the choke. Off we go in a cloud of smoke. Twinkle, twinkle, chocolate bar. My daddy drives a rusty vintage car. They're not all rusty though. Okay, boys and girls, I want to talk about something, and it's rather tricky, but I know how clever you guys are. And I've even drawn a little diagram, so I have to get the camera to come right up close. Now, in that song, we talk about a choke. Now, do you know, boys and girls, that your mummy or your daddy, the car they own, probably haven't got a choke? Because nowadays, the engines are so clever that they just know when you start the car to use the choke automatically comes on. And I'll explain all about this amazing choke. So when you pull out the choke, this here is a little choke valve, and it spins round, and that stops the air from coming down and joining the fuel. Now, to start your car, even your mummies and daddies, and even Lynda's and Steve's vintage cars, you need air mixed with fuel. And as you drive along, you need air mixed with fuel. But when you start the car, it's a little bit trickier. So you have to have more fuel, lots of rich fuel coming in, and less air. So that little valve turns around, and that stops the air, or lots of air coming in, so that lots of fuel can go, and that means when you turn the key, your car starts. So a choke is what you have on old-fashioned cars that stop the air and make the fuel lovely and rich so the little old car can start. But your modern day cars, the cars that your mummies and daddies drive, this automatically happens. That means it just happens. You don't need to push a button or pull a choke because it's so clever it can do it all on its own. So, boys and girls, we're going to sing that Twinkle Twinkle Chocolate Bar song again. And we might say, my daddy drives. We better say vintage car. We won't say rusty like I sang last time. But on a vintage car, you have to pull that choke. And so you're clever enough to know that when you pull that choke, you're stopping the air coming in to mix with the fuel, so the fuel comes in and the car goes and it starts. I'm not very good at those sounds. I know you guys are so much better. So shall we sing that song? And don't forget, push the button and pull the choke. Can you remember? Good on you. Twinkle, it is so lovely to hear from boys and girls, and we are still getting lots of beautiful pictures. We got one of Kiera, and I don't know, Kiera, if you're watching this particular one because you're a big schoolgirl, but I know that you do check up on us, and you look so grown up in your beautiful uniform ready for school, and I know that you're doing very well already. Gulf Harbour Preschool boys and girls always do well at school. Okay, my little sweethearts. Oh, and I must remember Amelie. I've mentioned Amelie quite a few times, but I got the most beautiful picture of her completing clever puzzles, and she's only 2. An amazing wee girl. And I know lots of you are doing puzzles at home, and I know lots of you are doing wonderful things for your mummies and daddies, and that is so wonderful to hear. Now, back to the engine. Now, vintage cars go very slowly. We talked about Steve's car breaking down, and we had to get the special car trailer, which is not the same as any other trailer. It's specially made for taking cars that break down. And if you look at the last video, Steve popped in a photo, and you can see the straps clearly holding that car onto the trailer. Now, I've written another poem which I think is more true of you boys and girls. So we'll read Steve's poem first about his little old Morris Minor. It's probably the same as my Anglia, actually. An Anglia is not quite as old as the Morris Minor, but nearly. Okay, so this is our poem that we've been reading. See if you can join me. I know you're very clever at remembering, and remember those rhyming words. My favourite car is very old, well over 60 years I'm told. It doesn't go fast, but when I'm done, I have had so much fun. Now that's very much about Stephen and Lynda, but is this about you? My favourite car is very new. Couldn't believe how fast I flew. It goes very fast, and when I'm done, I have had so much fun. Now, I know that some of you are going very fast on your bikes, and I know you're going very fast on your scooters, and not so fast in your cars because we're not driving very much at the moment, but I know that you enjoy going fast. So this is your special poem, and we've got my favourite car is very new. And what rhymes with new? Couldn't believe how fast I flew. Flew, new, rhyming words. It goes very fast, and when I'm done, I have had so much fun. So that's a lovely poem, isn't it? Now, I just wanted you to have one more look at something very special that Sue made for us. Look here. Sue spent a long time drawing this beautiful car and naming all the little parts. Now, there won't be a choke on this car because it's too new. But what it does have is an exhaust at the back. Now, an exhaust is very special for something, and I was just wondering if any of you would be able to tell me what an exhaust does for a car. And we might have a chat about that tomorrow. So get back to me if you can tell me what that exhaust is for. I would love to hear, because actually an exhaust is very important, and it's very important not to go near that exhaust. Okay, so if you've got the answer to that question, get back to me. I would love to hear. And that's Sue's special new car, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow and all the different parts. But for now, we're going to sing Oh, I'm Riding in My Very Fast Car. Okay, get in your car, put your seatbelt on. I know you've all got seatbelts, or in your special car seats. Get mummy or daddy to turn the engine key, start the engine. Don't need a choke because we're going to go fast. Oh, I'm riding in my very fast car. Zoom, zoom. Oh, I'm riding in my very fast car. Zoom, zoom. Oh, I'm riding ask that you go ramming into something, because we wouldn't want sore knees. But I know some of you are very clever, and I know that some of you have even taken, your mummies and daddies have taken off your trainer wheels and you're just riding on 2 wheels. And some of you have gone from just riding a ride on and now you're pedaling with lots of wheels. So that is so wonderful to hear. Enjoy the sunshine, lovely boys and girls. If it's fine, get outside and play in this beautiful sunshine and fresh air. Well, until tomorrow, take care, look after your mummies and daddies. Love you to bits.